All right. Thank you, Willis. As he said, we're talking entrepreneurship this morning. A little inspiration for you ahead of the Wealth Summit International taking place on Saturday here in Kenya. I have two CEOs here to share their story and hopefully encourage you in your business journey as you go about that. Charles Kinodia is the CEO of One Stop Tax. Glad to have you on Power Breakfast.
Thank you.
And Shane Maguire, CEO of The Gold Card.
Thank you, Joey.
Thanks for being here. Both of you have really inspirational stories, and we'll get to that. But before we do, perhaps we can talk a little bit about your businesses, how long you've been running them, and what it is that they're about.
Thanks, Joey. Like she said, my name is Charles Kinodia, and I'm the CEO of One Stop Tax, currently running a national accounting and tax firm in the United States. I started running that in 2009.
Okay. All right. And Shane?
Well, I started my business called The Gold Guys, and we used a very generic, silly name. We're the Gold Guys because we didn't want to sound corporately. Ironically, you introduced me as the CEO. We started that company 9 years ago. We had a little bit of money. You want to talk about entrepreneurship, you don't have to have money to start, and we had a little bit. We turned a little bit of money into a $400 million business within 4 years. So we hit the market just at the right time. You know, sometimes timing is really important, but there's no better time than right now to start, no matter where you are in life. That's how our philosophy was then, and it worked out for us.
Wow. Amazing success in a short amount of time. Perhaps we could talk about your background, Charles. You're Kenyan, but you've lived and traveled in various places abroad.
Yes.
So maybe you can start us from the beginning of this journey.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. So I was born and raised in Nakuru, Kenya. That's where I was born and raised. We grew up in a family of 5, of less than $1 a day. And just having that drive in life that led me to the United States. Of course, first I went to Finland in search of a better life, moved down to Australia, then I ended up in the United States, and that's where I currently reside, but it all started here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, most entrepreneurs that I talk to have a story of dejection at some point and, you know, overcoming in the end. What is your story like, Shane?
I'm originally a farm boy from New Zealand, across the pond there a little bit. But, you know, I grew up maybe not quite as poor. I think we had $2 a day, so
just a little bit more.
We're considered wealthy, yeah. But a farm boy of a town of 8,000, and that wasn't going to work for me. I had 3 brothers. You know, they still live in that same area. I joined the Navy at a young age. I thought that would be a way to get out of town, and that took me into another place where I ended up being in a movie called The Bounty. It was Mel Gibson, Anthony Hopkins, and Liam Neeson, Daniel Day-Lewis. Wow. A-listers now, they were not so then. And so, you know, that was really a milestone of inspiration for me. I had a lot of, as I said, A-listing actors that were very inspirational. So, but I knew always I wanted to come to America, or go to America, because we're not right there. We're not there. Because I thought that's where the American dream was. Everyone talks about the American dream, you know, where I come from, and you know, that's why a lot of people go there. It worked out actually well for me. It worked out well in 2 ways, because I had a magnificent business, actually quite a few businesses now. I had the wonderful opportunity to meet Charles through business, and we became fast friends and business partners thereafter. You have to be, I think, good friends. You have to love one another as friends if you're going to be in business together. It's a long, slow ride if you don't.
Yeah. Charles, you spoke about, you know, going out, leaving Kenya in search of a better life.
Yes.
What was that better life that you were envisioning at that time, and are you living that life now?
Well, it's interesting because I came to find that actually geographical location or relocation does not equate to a better life. That's what at least I thought, that I was in search of a better life. Just found myself in a situation where I was actually struggling, doing 4 cleaning jobs just to make a living. But one of the things is that I constantly believed that there was greatness in me. And I was fortunate enough to start a company with really no money down, and just through hard work, discipline, determination, and just being consistent, pursuing your dreams, I was able to grow it to the fastest and largest accounting firm in the United States. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Did you have a particular moment that was like, this is my breakthrough moment.
Yes.
This is, you know, now I know I've made it to the level that I was seeking.
Well, you know, you really never arrive, Joey. I think we are constantly pursuing right now, Shane and I actually traveling around the world looking for different business opportunities, just going into technology, telecommunications, banking, and all kinds of things. So you don't really yet arrive, but I can tell you for a fact that yes, I did have a defining moment in my life, and that's just when I was very close to being homeless. I'd lost everything. My car had been repossessed. I had lost my apartment, and I was just as low as it can get. And I said, there's got to be more to life than this. I think one of my beliefs in life is that you have to make a significant contribution in this world, or else be shameful to die. So I was just like, I gotta make a significant contribution in life. So
that's very powerful. And one thing I always like to learn from CEOs or entrepreneurs such as yourself is some of the failures, right? Because we hear your success stories over and over again, but do you have any failures that you've learned from and that you feel have catapulted you?
Very early, Joey. Actually, as a child, I lost my dad when I was 12 years old. So, and that had a huge impact. It impacted my schooling in a negative way. So I remember before I thought I was going to graduate, I got told by the vice principal, "You're never going to amount to anything," because I was leaving school. And that had a massive impact because that's not the way I dreamt. You know, you have to have a dream. You have to have goals in life. You have to know somewhere where you're going to go. You can't just say, "I want to be rich one day," and it's just going to happen. But to be told definitively by somebody that you respected that it wasn't going to be that for you was a defining moment for me. And you know, just growing through the various businesses over the years, yeah, I've had some failures. You know, I've started a couple of multi-million-dollar businesses, went vertical very quick and went the other way as fast, because choosing right business partners is very important. Who you're in business with, who your associations with, who you hang out with. There are a lot of people who want to tell you really quickly, you can't do that. It's not going to work because misery loves company. I just didn't want to buy that.
How do you get back up then after those failures?
I know. Well, sometimes it's tough. You know, it's just, you know, being an entrepreneur is a lifestyle. It's not just a choice. I mean, you can choose to make your first step, your second step, your third, but if it's in your DNA, you'll just keep getting up and keep going. For me, it just wasn't a choice, and I knew if I just kept going to the tennis court, finally I'd play good tennis, and you know, here we are.
Do you believe that everyone is capable of becoming an entrepreneur such as yourself, or do you believe that, you know, you're born with this sort of innate thing?
Yeah, thanks, Joey. So I believe that everyone has the capacity and the ability to be an entrepreneur. And I think it just goes back down to living those principles. If you follow the principles, it doesn't matter who you are or where you are, you can have the success of an entrepreneur. And I think sometimes we live off what we just, you know, see on TV and things like that. But sometimes if you just back it down to few principles and focus and be solutions oriented, because really what entrepreneurs do, they are constantly seeking for problems and solving those problems. That's all what entrepreneurs do. So I think everyone has the ability to look for problems and solve them, and then that's where you get paid.
So for you, the difference between yourself and someone who hasn't begun the journey is principles.
It's principles.
What about you?
You know, it doesn't matter whether you're a car mechanic, a driver of a car, a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, politician, pastor of a church. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It has the same entrepreneurial principles. You still have to have a direction, you have to have purpose, and you have to have systems in place. And those systems apply differently for each individual choice of wherever you're going to go as an entrepreneur. And so if you figure out what they are, as I said, you know, I failed school miserably, but life has been an experience of a number of experiences of education. There are so many educational books out there. There are so many giants out there. You can stand on their shoulders and learn from them. The Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, Tony Robbins, those types of people. They're waiting in the wings all the time to help anybody, and they're on any bookshelf. So as Charles said, you know, the principles apply in no matter what industry. No matter what it is you want to be successful at it.
Right.
Try to hit the top.
What about someone watching who just feels like it's too late for them? I mean, we have to talk about the age factor. There might be someone who's a little bit older in age. They've tried, starting businesses. They've failed. They've given up, and are just feeling like, well, now I have to seek out some other means of making money. What about the age factor? How does that factor in?
Well, actually, interesting enough, I don't think that age is a barrier. You can solve problems at 90, you can solve problems while you're 30, you can solve problems while you're 18. It reminds me of a gentleman who failed miserably, had a $600 million company at the age of 60, got into a bad business advice, like Shane's been saying. You got to know who your business partners are, and by the age of 62, lost everything, went bankrupt, and then at the age of 67 did it all over again and became a billionaire 5 years after.
Wow.
So I beg to differ sometimes. I just don't think that age is actually a factor. If you can solve problems, you'll always be in business.
Okay. How about yourself?
I remember a quote from Ronald Reagan. He said, when a politician was arguing with him in a debate about his age, Ronald Reagan was getting close to 70, he said, "I won't use your youth against you." There's a lot of people that I've come across over the years that have started and failed businesses. They've had huge success, and then it fell away for whatever market shift and so on. It's like I said, it's in their DNA. It doesn't matter if you're 80 or 90, you're not going to go away. I don't hold Charles's youth against him, and so we're business partners. I'm the old man in the group, as you can tell. I didn't have this gray hair, incidentally, before I met Charles. That's how tough a character is to work with. But a lot of people, conversely, young people that are in their late teens, early 20s, they think they need a world of experience ahead of them. There are so many multimillionaire and new billionaire 20-year-olds running around in this world. Kenya is an amazing place. This is the new Wild West for business and entrepreneurship. Technology is rampant and quickly growing here in the state. We met a wonderful woman yesterday at SafariCon, and what a testimony to entrepreneurship. She's amazing. And so I'm thrilled that we're here to bring our experience to this country, and hopefully we can make a positive impact.
Yeah. So you're having the summit on Saturday.
Yes.
It's a business breakfast, I understand. So for someone interested in buying a ticket to come, there are some skeptics when they hear people talking about wealth creation and all these things. It kind of feels like some type of rhetoric, really. But for someone who wants to attend this event, what can you tell them that they're going to walk out of there with that they didn't walk in there with? What type of ideas? What type of plans, commitments, etc.?
Well, one of the things I believe is that you cannot rub your shoulders with greatness and remain the same. So one of our principles is we believe, first of all, your life can never be the same again, because we're not just here to share theory. We've lived through it. We've been on both spectrums. We know what it is to have and what it is not to have. What we're going to be sharing is just some life principles that we have learned through the journey that can help someone who's either at the beginning stage, or maybe you're at a C-level executive, a CEO of an organization, and you're just wondering, how can I scale my business to the next dimension? How can I grow it? Or maybe you're just out there on the street, selling potatoes on the street and saying, how do I move from the streets to the city? Whatever it is, there's something for everyone in there. And to those who are skeptics, I would say, you always miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. It doesn't cost you anything. Just come down there, spend some time with us, and learn from us.
Actually, it does cost you something.
Yeah.
It's in the conference, but
it doesn't cost you anything in a sense of time, I think.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha. Do you have anything to add to that?
We're a little bit different in our approaches. As I kidded about, I'm a little bit older than Charles, so my business experiences are a little different. So the way I present, the way I share my background and where I'm from and my experiences, I hope that lends to helping people, in their own personal development. Charles has a completely different approach. He's a technical guy. He has all the fantastic one-liners of things that are thought-provoking. So just to hear those are amazing. And Charles is a very learned guy. He, as I said, standing on the shoulders of giants. Quintessentially, he's becoming one, and he can share a lot of great experiences that he's learned already. And again, just come on down and share some time. You never know, if we can impact one person in that audience and head them in the right direction to their personal greatness. That's what we're here for.
So in terms of your journey to where you are right now, what would you say is the best investment that you've ever made, either in terms of time or anything really? Best investment that you've ever made?
Well, I think for me personally, the best investment I made was to myself, which was I became disciplined about my personal development. And going back to what I said earlier, that it doesn't cost you anything. It's an investment. It's not a cost. Coming to an event like this is not even an expense. It's more of an investment. And so that's how I choose to look at it. I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars in seminars and in going for events like this, because it's in places like this that your life changes and a new fire just sparks, and then you just get on the roll and go out there and make a difference in the world. So that's really the best investment I've ever made.
Yeah. Same question.
Well, people that know me would say the best investment I ever made was in gold. And just making the right decision at the right time. The best investment that I think I've made is time, and having and knowing when it's good timing. Again, that's why we're in Kenya. This is great timing for this country, for this town. But making an investment in yourself is very important. So coming to visit with us, and that was a great retort to that. It's not a cost. If it costs you something, the cost and expense, if you look at an expense sheet, a P&L in your business, that's actually a good point. You're making an investment in yourself.
Yeah. Could be somebody watching who's, in a place where you were talking about of when you were on the brink of homelessness and everything wasn't going right, and they're watching and saying, well, it's easy to be, talk success when you're in a place of success, but I'm just not there. So maybe just a little bit of encouragement for that person watching this morning, or some inspiration for them as to how to take the next step.
Well, the thing is, I like to say, just don't give up. Don't give up. I never thought I could be where I am today. I never thought I could have friends like Shane today in my life. But one of the things that I constantly did was I remained focused. The ability to be focused and be, solutions oriented in life, instead of focusing on the problem, you focus on the solution, will really determine the success that you're going to have ultimately in your life. And so for me, it's just the ability to constantly stay focused. And second, you gotta learn to just be excellent at no matter what level you are. If you're selling potatoes on the streets, be the best at that. Just distinguish yourself. Just become different at that. If you're doing customer service at the grocery market or whatever the place is, just be the best at it, because eventually that begins to elevate you in life. But when you live a life of mediocrity, when you're not doing things in an excellent manner, when you just living your life just giving just the bare minimum, then you'll always be at the bare minimum. People talk about my success right now. They don't want to talk about me cleaning restrooms. I was speaking when I was doing those things. I would make sure they're shining, they're clean. I would just make sure there's no dirt, nothing. And that ultimately began teaching me principles that I gotta be excellent no matter what part I am in life. So
reminds me of a story of a Nigerian, I think it was a Nigerian hawker, who was just hawking goods on the street, and he decided to take it to the next level, started showing up in a suit and very well clean shoes, and people took note of those things.
Yes,
so same question again to you, and just we're wrapping up here, so as you finish, maybe you can just give us the details of the event and how people can get themselves taken.
Yeah, just to share a little bit of what Charles was saying. For me, don't let the idea of money create your happiness. Having money isn't your happiness. You need to be happy and excited, like the gentleman from Nigeria put a suit on. He figured out that, I have to look happy and be happy. And so, I have children the first thing in my life. I have 2 sons, and that's what I do this for. So you need to know your why. People they don't buy what you have, they buy why you have it. They don't buy what you are, they buy who you are. And so that happiness for me isn't structured around how much money I have. because I've been almost homeless after having millions of dollars. I know what that feels like. But yeah, come on down and visit us on Saturday, right? It's 7 till noon at the Safari Club.
Okay. People can get tickets in advance, though, right?
Yes.
Ticketsasa?
Yes, ticketsasa.com, and of course the number to contact is 0740-501-418. That is 0740-501-418. You can go to ticketsasa.com to get the tickets, and once again, the investment is only 5,000 Kenyan shillings. We'll be there from 7 a.m. to noon at the Nairobi Safari Club.
And it's an investment, not a cost.
Right, not a cost. Charles Kinuthia and Shane Maguire, thank you so much for making time for us this morning and inspiring us with your talk on entrepreneurship. We're going to check in with what's happening with Willis Rabur on the other side. He's been hanging out with some bakers and some chefs, making some tasty treats, so we will check out the final products next.